Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming out to City Hall this afternoon. As you know, this past Friday morning, a violent sexual assault occurred in one of our neighborhoods here in the city. A young girl on her way to school was assaulted. I think, as I stated in my comments over the weekend, there's no higher responsibility for society, no greater responsibility, I think all of us feel this way, than protecting our youth. What we want to reassure the public of today is that we are bringing together all of our collective resources in an effort not only to bring the perpetrator to justice, but to establish a long-term sustainable action plan between the administration and the school district to help make Harrisburg safer and to make sure that events like this are less likely to occur in the future. One of the things that we've talked about, I've talked about with the superintendent, school board president who joined me here today, is the reinstitution in Harrisburg of our SRO program, which were our school resource officers. These were essentially Harrisburg police officers that used to be in all of our schools. We'd like to see that program revived. I think that we feel now is perhaps the moment, especially given the school district's improving financial situation and the overall recovery plan for the district. Those officers weren't just in the schools themselves, making the schools safe, but as the chief can tell you, they were out before school and after school in the neighborhoods as kids walked back and forth to school, making sure that our neighborhoods were safe. That is admittedly a longer-term solution, but I think it's an important one and one that we're going to be collaborating on along with other approaches to transportation and security. In the short term, what we'd like to do is see the administration and the school district collaborate on improving the security officers that are already there, maybe establishing a community service officers program in which basically these would not be uniformed police officers, they would not carry weapons, but they would receive training and coordination from the Harrisburg Police Department. They'd be paid for by the school district, they'd be employed by the school district, but they would coordinate in a much more robust way than we currently have now. In fact, there's some positions in the school district currently that are open. There should be existing resources to get that done, and we can do that immediately. Other things which you're going to see are an increased presence of Harrisburg police officers before and after school, as I think many in the community saw this morning. We've got a lot of other things to say. There are many people here that want to speak to you. I want to begin by letting the chief talk to you a little bit, give you a status update on where we are. So let me introduce Chief Carter.
Thank you, Mayor. This situation is to the point where I would like to make a personal plea for all parents with school students to support those students, walk them to school every morning, for the whole city of Harrisburg to come together as a whole. Anytime somebody attacks our most precious resource, our kids, we cannot tolerate that, and we will not tolerate that. We have pulled resources together. I want to thank Civil Knight Burney and the Y, the school district, for coming together as a whole. We are collaborating on a lot of different things right now. To let you know, the victim will be okay. The victim was hurt bad. It was a terrible situation that happened to this victim. The victim is a strong and resourceful person. I made a personal visit to her yesterday. We had conversation with the family and the victim. My heart goes out to them, and we're up here to let you know that we're doing everything that we can to bring the person responsible for the attack on this student to justice. The city police have been pulling out resources to make sure that In the morning times, we have officers out there watching the students go to school. We'll have officers out there watch them going home from school. The city and the school district, we understand, that our kids are precious to us, and we're going to do everything that we can do to make sure that our most precious resource is taken care of. I have calls going out to Rob Teplet, to the commissioners, to Patty Kim, to pull together for some more money so that we can hire some more resource officers. We're calling for everybody to take some sort of action, everybody that has interest in the city, to come together with us and to make sure that this does not happen a second time. Yes, we will get the person responsible for this. It may take some time, but we will not stop, we will not sleep, we will not rest until the person is brought to justice. I'm going to bring up Captain Moody right now. He's going to tell you a little bit about the case, but I'm going to caution you, we're not going to get into detail after detail after detail. If you question us, we're going to give you vague answers because we want to protect the information that we have. I understand that you have a job to put it out there to the public. I respect that, but there are some things that we can say and some things that we cannot say. Then after Captain Moody, you'll hear from Captain Cleary, and he'll let you know about the resources that we're putting out there. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm here to provide you just a tad bit of the information as far as where we're at in the investigation from the Criminal Investigation Division. Obviously, as the Chief stated earlier, this is very serious. We're treating, as always, as a very serious incident. We have our Detective Bureau that is currently out canvassing the neighborhood. What you should see as a result of that is an increase in detectives out, knocking on doors, speaking with people. We have a lot of footwork that we still need to get done. We have a lot of interviews that we still need to make. And at this point, what we're really looking for is cooperations from persons to assist us in that. We also were able to secure a tip line through the Crime Stoppers. I have some flyers here to hand out to you guys. There's a phone number, which is 1-800-262-3080, and that's for any person that would like to call in and give any type of anonymous information that would assist us in this investigation. As always, with the Crime Stopper piece of it, there is a reward up to $2,000 for any information leading to an arrest. With that, we've also touched base with the care team for Dauphin County, which is made up of the police departments in this county. There are representatives from each department that would be able to come in and assist us in the investigation. Normally where you see a care team activation would be in some type of an abduction or a missing child. However, the resources are there to provide us with these additional investigators or officers from the other departments who specialize in this. Once that activation is completed, you will also see an additional push of officers out onto the street, but that piece will be more in the investigative and the interview portion of it. Obviously, with a incident like this, a few factors that we have to start with. We need to poll all of the resources that we have. We also have a lot of information to look at in regards to the type of crime, how it occurred. I have a brief description of the mail that I can give you at this point. Again, as the Chief alluded to, we have to be very careful as to what information we put out to you guys. We want to catch this person, and we don't want to impede our investigation or put something out that would jeopardize the investigation. For the sake of this information, this incident occurred on the 3rd of 2014, 7:40 in the morning, in the 2300 block of Market Street, which is across from the Bellevue Towers apartments. We are looking for a black male, adult, wearing a gray and, wearing a tan sweatshirt. He had a gray and black beard, was the information provided to us. He was wearing jeans and black and white Michael Jordan sneakers, with a black snapback type baseball cap. Again, we're asking for anyone with information who may have observed anything to give us a call. The lead investigator for this case is Detective Zimmerman. However, you can also reach us through the Crime Stopper tip line and provide any type of information that you may need. That's about all the information that I can really give you guys. Chief, I don't know how you want to proceed, if you want to go to Colin before you go to questions, or...
Can we get one clarification? But I guess at this point, I understand police did possible sexual assault on Friday because the victim was still at the hospital getting treatment. At this time, are you classifying it as a sexual assault or rape?
Yes, we're going to treat it as if this was a sexual assault. We have no reason to disbelieve any of the information that was provided to us by the victim. Everything that we have dealt with in regards to this information is consistent. We have no contrary information or anything that would lead us to believe otherwise. Obviously, people can change clothing, but again, some of the information we don't have available to give to you at this point. I'm going to say he's probably taller than 5'5", but that's about all I can give you at this point as far as a height. I don't have a specific height for you. A weapon was mentioned, but as far as we know, none was seen. It was mentioned.
Seeing that he had a gray beard, you would suspect he's...
Black and gray.
Black and gray. You suspect he's a little bit older, maybe middle-aged man, perhaps?
Could be.
Sorry, you said weapon was mentioned, you mean victims
It was referred to.
or that perpetrator?
The perpetrator referred to having a weapon. Correct. This was, from what we gather, this was an ambush-style attack where the victim was accosted from behind. So that type of encounter gives us limited information as far as what we can give to you. Every piece of information we have now is very important to our investigation. So again, I apologize for the vagueness of the answers, but every little piece we have now is very important to us. As far as life-threatening or anything like that, yes.
The injuries were severe. She was ambushed from behind. She was choked out. She was choked out. She was choked out a couple times. I have no doubt that the perpetrator intended on possibly trying to kill her.
Can you talk about two other women, the girls that was dragged that same day that was not related to the assault?
Do you want to talk about that?
At this point, we have nothing to suggest that these are related. The description that we had for that one is different from this one. So as far as we're concerned, they're separate incidents. I don't know specifically what type of information that you needed from that. That case is also being investigated by our division, by another detective.
Given that you know, maybe he had intents to kill her, did she fight back? Is this how she got away?
We have nothing to suggest that there was any type of a fight back or anything at this point. We have no information to suggest that.
Regarding her injuries, is this a rape?
That's how we're treating it, yes.
Councilman, should the public be alarmed? Students, should they look out, be vigilant? Is there a message?
I think the message is always the same. Yes, you should be vigilant at any time, anywhere, whether you be in this city or anywhere that you may be. The safety message always remains the same. I think one of the things that we've discussed, we know with a lot of our youth now, they like to walk around with earphones in their ears or they're on their cell phones. One of the things I believe the school district actually pushed out in their message was that we're asking for children to be a little more vigilant, and not necessarily children, but just young adults in general. Be vigilant when you're out walking around. You know, take the earphones out of your ears. Kind of pay attention to your surroundings. just in general, that message remains the same.
So do you think at this point, I know you said, one of us mentioned that this guy was armed and dangerous and he could attack again, he could attack again?
At this time, I don't have an answer for you. That's always a concern for us. It could be, it could not be. An answer like that, I'd be purely speculating, but I would always treat it as if there's always the potential for you to become a targeted person or not. It doesn't matter where you're at.
I pose this question to the school district officials. A lot of parents we spoke to Mr. Ramsell and many of them say that they need busing. So I know that she's mentioning like walking trips to school, but what about parents have to go to work early and can't do that? I mean, are there other more specific measures that you have to want to take to assist parents?
I'll take. Yeah, let me say we have discussed that, and what I'd like to do now, if it's okay, is to let everybody else just have an opportunity to make a opening statement, and then we'll return to the questions. And I promise we'll answer every question that you have. But I think there are some other individuals that want to describe aspects of what our action plan is. Okay? So, Captain Cleary. Yes. Sorry. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. I'll just speak very briefly on the resources that were brought to bear and as far as the Police Bureau's response. When this call came in, a patrol supervisor, a number of officers immediately responded, including a K-9 unit. They were instrumental in the search for evidence and for the crime scene. The victim was rather distraught, so we had to search, we had to locate the crime scene, we had to find some additional evidence. Throughout the day, we're in communication with the school district as far as what had happened. Even though this had happened off of school grounds, we kept them informed of what we could as far as the investigation. Obviously, we had very, very few details in the early part of this investigation. What we're doing in the meantime, and what we did over the weekend with the concerns about homecoming, we deployed extra officers. We had our school resource our street crimes unit was deployed around the high school for the dance. We also brought out additional patrol officers. We posted additional patrols on the likely walking routes back and forth to the dance and not just at the school itself. Did the same thing this morning. We've deployed some additional officers traditionally assigned to administrative or we can call it desk duties. We've deployed them in the early morning hours to patrol around the schools and patrol the likely walking routes. So that's some of the things that we've been doing to ensure that we have people out there, we have officers out there, we have patrols to try to interact with parents. I would again encourage any parents, any people that are out on the block, visibility is key. Having an adult out there, having somebody interested watching over the kids is going to be the most helpful thing we can have.
With that, I'd like to introduce the superintendent to talk a little bit more about what the school district is doing.
As you all know, the city has been outstanding in their support, and I want to thank the Mayor Papenfuse, and his staff, along with Chief Carter and his staff, and the kind of response that they have given us. My heart is very, very heavy right now. We're very disturbed by this act. And we just want all of our parents who have been responsive to continue to be responsive. Last evening, early this morning at 6 a.m., then again through the day at 1:30, our school Connect Ed messages have gone out via telephone to parents, asking them to make sure that they walk their children to school, to be able to talk with them about walking with their headphones in, to be vigilant around looking at their environment. Don't go into any wooded areas or the back roads. Try to stay in groups and walk together. We've already received emails and texts from those who have been already doing that, standing outside, making sure that kids are safe, and for that we're very appreciative. We know that when any one of our children hurt, we all hurt. And for that, we are grateful that we have a community that is responsive. So again, we're calling on everyone to make sure that the kids are safe and to work together, to walk together, to be watching our kids, and to also give them their support and encouragement. We have counseling services from Presley Ridge that are available. We also have a long-time, very supportive partner through the YWCA, and Tina Nixon is here today to share with you some of the things that they will be doing with us beginning tomorrow. And I want to acknowledge my board president is here, as well as our PR coordinator, who has been very responsive and working along with the police. Ms. Nixon?
Thank you. Good afternoon. I would just like to say that the YWCA is here to provide resources to victims and those who have been victims of sexual assault and domestic violence. And I have to applaud the school district for being super responsive to this and contacting us immediately and really having information out there for the parents. And thank you for doing that for our children. I have to really ask the media to be very, when you're reporting this, please try to be very sensitive. This is a 14-year-old girl. And when you report on these stories, people who have been victims are re-victimized by the way you report the stories. So this is a call out for everyone to make sure that they have sensitivity when you're reporting on these stories. It takes all of us together. This is, we're in taking action, and it takes the school district, the city, parents, the students. So we're really going to be there for the next 2 days talking about sensitivity and safety with the students, as well as providing counseling to those who have been victimized and who need that support. So that's our role in this, and that's what we'll continue to do for as long as the school district needs us to be there. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina, and thank you for all that you do in the community. We're happy to take questions now. I'll just address the transportation question briefly, because I do think that there is a need for a long-term transportation plan for the district. One of the results of the return to neighborhood schooling is that you do have children walking fairly long distances. I think it's up to 2 miles in some instances to school. And as the winter approaches and as it becomes colder, it can be very difficult for that. We will continue that conversation with the school district and talk about how we can collaborate there. In the short term, there are such proven practices as the walking school bus, which is essentially the concept of kids walking to school together in groups. We're calling on parents to be much more active, much more vigilant during this time period, to be out there in the morning along with our officers that'll be out there. And I don't know if Captain Clay mentioned this specifically, but we're taking everyone out from technical services behind the desks, and we're putting them on the street. And this will be a joint effort, a collaborative effort. We're all in this together. But those are important conversations for us to have as we move forward. Okay, additional questions?
Can you walk us through Friday morning? When did you first know about the attack?
I'm not aware specifically of the time that I was called, but I know that it was in the before 12 o'clock that I was told that something had happened. Didn't know the severity because at that time, none of the exact incidences or issues around the incidents was known.
Can you walk us through the policy of the district? Obviously this happened, we made calls this morning, but I know a lot of parents were upset. They weren't notified Friday before school let out to know maybe come pick up the kids. And obviously no announcement was made at Marshall School either. Kids are telling us the PA announcement went over before dismissal said welcome to groups. No reason was given. Can you explain the district policy?
One of the things is we don't want to alarm people without knowing as much of the details as possible. So we have to be cautious. I'm sure you just realized what Ms. Nixon said about being sensitive to our victims as well. So the one thing we don't want to do is go out without full understanding of the situation. So I don't want to alarm people by saying things that we don't know, we haven't been able to substantiate. So what we did was to be able to say that we wanted our students to be together and to walk together as they went home.
And no other announcement on the Marshall School next door. I mean, you have 8th grade students, 8th grade girls that are just about the same age as this girl walking where an attacker was still on the loose at that point. So no district, call to say, hey, make an announcement to Marshall School or the high school.
Well, at that time, we were being very cautious about what was being said because we did not have all the information, as I said before.
Released their information at 1:59 p.m. on Friday. That's more than 45 minutes to dismissal. At that time, they announced it as a sexual assault investigation. Again, you have to understand the parents. They let their kids out, and they were kind of upset that they couldn't make arrangements to come pick them up.
Thank you for letting us know that.
Let the chief speak to the specific question of what was known and when.
No other notification was made because we had police resources out there at the schools checking the surrounding areas. We didn't want to cause hysteria among the students. We didn't want to cause panic among the students. We did not want that to happen. So that's why no other information was put out there. If Well, that's something else too. I respect the media, love you guys, but I don't understand how you guys can go on private property at a school and question people about an incident like that. That caused more alarm, more panic than anything.
I don't think maybe if the district gave out some protocols like they did this morning to let the parents know what was happening.
We can all be quarterbacks Monday morning, quarterbacks to say what was the right thing to do.
Let me try. Here was a very important point to me in thinking about this on Friday. What you have to understand is, again, we're dealing with a minor. We are dealing with somebody who experienced a violent assault. We're dealing with trauma. We are dealing with an immediate aftermath of a highly traumatic event. What we know now and what we've told you today has come after a period of time where that individual has had time to be with their family, where we've had a chance to reach out and build a relationship of trust over a period of time. What I'm basically saying is we know a lot more today than we did at that time, and pushing the matter at that time would have been, I think, unwise given the circumstances of what happened. And that's the caution to the media. Please try and understand you're dealing with a traumatic assault of a minor, and information which is starting to flow now just wasn't available at that time because of the nature of what happened. You've already had it alluded to that the victim was well, we did. That was out. I mean, that was released. And
that's the point. Once the parents were told, hey, we're investigating an incident, be vigilant. That's all. I understand you might not have all the details you have now, but that's where the parents are coming from, saying we would have liked to have known so we could pick up our kids. Once the announcement was made, several kids told us that they were on their smartphones, picked it up, called their parents. You have to understand where the parents are coming from too.
I do. I think we're at a point. I think we're at a point here today where we're all united and we're trying to get as much information to the parents and the community at large as we possibly can. I think the response today has been the right response. I think the counseling and the activities that are going on within the school district are the right response. On Friday, you were dealing with the aftermath of an immediately traumatic and very difficult event. I don't think blaming the district at this point would serve any useful purpose. I think everyone is going to look at it introspectively, but our goal is to establish an action plan, a very collaborative action plan for the future in which we're working together to ensure that it doesn't happen again. And if an event like this does happen again, we're all better prepared.
Can I ask, is there
Sure.
an event in the memory of anybody up here like this in the area of the district?
Certainly, there are. I don't.
I'm sorry, Mayor,
Yeah.
excuse me. You're talking about the city of Harrisburg, because we're talking about individuals that are raped on the streets in Harrisburg. Is that what you're talking about? Or something that happened at the school?
A similar circumstance where a student was involved and it was near a school.
I'm sure if you did the research, I'm sure there have been other students that have been attacked on city streets, near school, near churches, near houses.
Currently, we're looking at all the data that we have available, and our detectives are looking at everything. If a pattern were to emerge, then we'll let you know. Yeah.
Reinstating school resource officers in the short term, you mentioned improving security.
Yeah, I think the best solution, and where I would recommend us putting our admittedly limited resources, both from the city and the district standpoint, is to focus on the school resource officers, mainly because they're highly trained police officers, also because it's a opportunity for better collaboration between the school district and the city, and I think it will help rebuild a sense of trust between the community and the police in general. So I think it's a very good strategy. The earliest that could be implemented would really be next year, because we'd have to hire and bring into the system a whole new crop of officers to do it. There are grants and funding sources which the school district and the city are willing to look at collaboratively to try and apply for together, and I think we can put that in place. So the question is, what do you do this year? And this year, we're recommending hiring of basically what you could call community service officers, but essentially private security that the school district would hire in addition to what they currently have, that would have the added benefit of additional training from the Harrisburg Police Department, additional coordination with the Harrisburg Police Department, and you'd have the chief and his captains literally working with them on a regular basis. That's achievable. I know the school district has to talk about it, but I think we can identify the funds in the short term to do that. The city is committed to working with those private officers to do it. So that's a part of it. Transportation's a part of the longer term plan and conversation. Other safety and security measures in terms of identifying the best paths to walk to school and what we can do to make those more secure. We're having those conversations as we speak. Okay.
Could you just comment on the principal, high school principal's just reaction? Some media members, I know we told myself to wait till Monday or Tuesday to report the story. I think another reporter concerned herself with homecoming instead of the story. Again, dealing with information at that time.
At this time, I have not had any conversations with him like that at all, so I'm not privy to that kind of comment that was made. In my conversations with the principal, he's very concerned about the student, very concerned about all of the students, and was very, very much in contact with our PR person and the police. So I don't know where those comments came from, and I wasn't there. I don't know what the comments were. So I can't substantiate that, so I'm not even going to get into that here now.
Okay, so can you again, once explain to you, want to hear you say it, that you feel the district, your response on Friday was appropriate?
Once again, with the information that we had received, a decision was made that we did not want to alarm everyone unnecessarily, as the mayor has said, as Chief Carter has said. We have to be sensitive to all parties. and we did what we thought was best at the time. Going forward, we're going to be looking at everything, every possible step that we can take. We want all of our children to be safe, and we want them to feel safe, especially on their way to school. So we will be reevaluating everything.
There were certainly concerns for the victim. There were privacy concerns for minors and students in general. There was the reality that the information we had was confusing and not all there due to the traumatic nature of the event. I think we needed some time, and I know the media works on a sort of continuous news cycle, and that is important, but we needed some time for the victim to recover and for the conversation to be able to occur.
Media reports are due to public safety, but we all want the kids to be safe. And listen, it's not me. When you hear other reporters say it's the parents' concerns. The parents were concerned that they were not notified.
Well, we released the information that there had been an assault. You were able to report that. Well, you could have. I mean, the media can report, right?
There was no, like, you know, we go on air at 5. I mean, the picture news has online, but there was no step taken by the district to notify parents via email and statement.
We had additional police presence on the street. We were monitoring the situation very carefully. We were concerned, as anyone would be, about possible additional activity, but we did not also want to speak before we knew the facts. And that's part of the balancing act. And again, our relationship with you is to try and get you the information as quickly as we have it and in a informed and correct way. So everything that we've said today, I think, advances the narrative quite a positive way for the community. And if you can report on the Crime Stoppers tip line, I think potentially there are still this incident did occur on Market Street. It did occur at a very public time of day. There could be other witnesses out there. We've established a tip line. It can be anonymous. There could be an award associated with it. Let's get that message out, and let's try and bring the perpetrator to justice now.
How long will there be a police presence?
The presence is going to continue until we apprehend the perpetrator. Hopefully it won't be what it is now, which is just basically all hands on deck, but it will be a collaboration with the school district to hire new officers, not uniformed police officers, but additional officers. Again, we're calling them community officers, community service officers in the short term, to distinguish them from what our ultimate goal would be, these resource officers, the school resource officers. No. These would be hired, paid professionals by the school district that would receive additional training from the Harrisburg Police Department. They wouldn't carry weapons. It would be essentially additional security. We think there are resources available to hire them in the short term. And I think that's what we need to do. I think we've all agreed that that will be an immediate action step. In the meantime, we will supply all of the officers that we have to the effort of making the areas around the schools and the transit routes for our kids safe, because we consider that our number one priority.
In addition to training, increasing the training of the officers that are already there on the bars.
We are willing to do that. The police department is willing to work with the school district to make sure that these new hires would receive proper training. And these wouldn't be police officers. They wouldn't have the experience and the detailed training that you would get if we moved to the resource officer model for next year. But it's a good step in the short term, and I think it's very achievable. I think the Budget and Finance Committee is meeting tonight for the school district, and it's really a question of resources. The city's prepared to assist. At one point, I think the SRO program had about 9 officers in the schools, which is certainly a goal. And again, I think that only ended due to issues of funding, not due to the fact that it wasn't working and making a positive difference.
And you resource officers and community resource officers would be for all of the schools?
Yes. Yes.
And the resource officers, those would also be paid for by the school district?
Yes, the way it historically worked is they would be paid for by the school district. There would be potential grants and outside funding sources that we could jointly apply for to pay for them, but they'd be city employees. They'd be actual Harrisburg police officers, and there'd be a reimbursement, and that has worked very successfully in Harrisburg in the past, and I think it's time to bring it back.
Do you know when that program ended?
Chief, you want to talk to the end of the program? I think it was about 4 years ago. What? 2009, 2010, and it basically ended due to a lack of funding and maybe a lack of leadership at the time, but I think we're all committed to bringing it back now. So. That's a good question.
I think there are about 20 right now. We have them in all of our schools.
And the community service officers, they will be around the schools in the neighborhood.
Yes, if they follow the model of the SROs, they'd be there before and after school. They would be in the neighborhood. They would be liaisoning directly with the police department. That is not in place now, and I think that's one of the immediate lessons of this incident. We should put that in place.
When you say immediate, how soon we can see this happen? I guess we all have to look at the time.
Well, from the city standpoint, we're willing to move ahead collaboratively immediately, and I think the school district, as I say, is meeting tonight to discuss the issue. Okay?